Hello, everybody, and welcome to Monday Messaging. I'm Genevieve White, travel and tourism copywriter and coach, and this is my 5 to 10 minute Monday messaging slot where I generally give you copywriting advice and insights to help you get on with your week. So today is a little bit different because I want to reflect upon something that happened to me last week and talk a little bit about what this might mean for you as a travel and tourism business owner. Now, some of you might be aware that, I think it was last Wednesday, I had a bit of a problem with LinkedIn. I was basically just about to go on to do one of my Tour Pro talks, and it all kind of crashed on me. I seemed to be locked out of my LinkedIn account. And most worryingly and annoyingly, I wasn't able to do my broadcast. And it was very stressful, obviously. And I was also getting the feedback that there could be, any one of three reasons why I had somehow angered the LinkedIn gods. And I think the first one was that I wasn't able to do a broadcast if I had less than, I think it was 150 followers. Well, that obviously wasn't the case. Or if I'd moved to China, I wouldn't be able to do it. Well, I'm very much still here in Shetland. And the third reason was that I'd possibly, I hadn't withheld the LinkedIn community guidelines. So, my first thought was, well, of course I've withheld the community guidelines. I haven't, been mean to anybody or trolled anybody or posted anything salacious. But then I got to thinking about that a little bit. And I remembered a conversation I'd had with another connection on LinkedIn. This was a couple of years ago. And with this connection, we were talking about how she might like to come up and visit Shetland because it was somewhere she had always wanted to visit. And we knew each other quite well. So we were chatting away and having a bit of a laugh. And this connection happens to be single. And I think we were joking about how we might find her a nice Shetland man when she came up to visit. And she said something along the lines of, oh, yes, please, I'd love to be introduced to some hot Vikings. Well, at that point, suddenly, I think we both got a message, and it was her who'd made the comment about the hot Vikings in the first place. And she was told that she had actually breached the community guidelines of LinkedIn simply by saying that. So, I think the moral of this story is that you don't actually have to do very much to breach the LinkedIn community guidelines. I certainly felt a little bit like I was still at home with my parents as a teenager, maybe talking about something, very borderline risky. And then my parents overheard and instantly were kind of cross and not impressed at all. I felt a little bit like that. And I think that this is really the problem with social media and social media platforms. It's not really a place of your own. Now, I would never condone trolling people or, being offensive in any way or disrespecting people. But I think if you are having a joke, and it's a pretty harmless joke at that, with someone else in the DMs, I think it's pretty wild that they would come in and give us a slap on the wrist, a digital slap on the wrist, albeit. So this is where I think you really do need a place of your own. Obviously, last week I was in a huge panic because I thought, oh my goodness, like for a minute or two, it looked as if I completely lost my LinkedIn account altogether. And obviously that is years now of very hard work and making connections and getting to know lots of people. And I was thinking, how am I ever going to build this up again? It's going to take, another 3 years. The one thing that saved me, though, from falling into complete and utter despondency was that I knew I had my email list. So not only is that a great channel for communicating with people who I already know are engaged and interested in what I can offer, it's also a place where I can go and I can say and talk about whatever I want. I can have free speech. I know that somebody is not going to come and give me that digital slap on the wrist for talking about Hot Vikings. Actually, I don't think I've ever mentioned Hot Vikings in any email to my subscriber, but if I wanted to, then I could certainly go ahead and do that. So my question to you, well, I've got two questions. First of all, do you have an email list? Because if you don't, you are potentially, setting yourself up for something like what happened to me last week happening to you. And it does happen. I know, and I've heard more since last week of many people who have just, through no fault of their own, suddenly lost their accounts, had them either temporarily confiscated or they have just disappeared for no very good reason. That's always going to be a huge bummer if that happens to you. I'm not going to lie, and I'm also not going to say don't bother with social media, because we do need social media as well. But if you have an email list, that's something you've got of your own and it's protected, and it's a lot less likely to just suddenly come crashing down because, well, for whatever reason that might have, whether you've unknowingly breached a community guideline or something else like that. And the second question is, if you do have an email list, are you really making the most of it? Are you using it as that space where you can be completely unapologetically you and talk as if your mum and dad aren't in the next room listening in to what you might be saying? Because for me, that is where email lists really come into your own, where you can almost take that risk of feeling a little bit more free and easy, setting the tone of the conversation, and just really revealing who you are and what you care about without any fear of censure. So that was my thought for the day. A little bit rambling, a little bit unscripted, but there you go. That's it. And if you enjoyed it, if you found it useful, thought-provoking, if you're sitting listening thinking, either I don't have an email list, but I'd like to get started, or I've got an email list, but I don't really know if I am making the most of it. I'm maybe not getting replies or responses or much engagement, then you might find my emails very useful. I send emails twice a week to my list, Club Campion. They're free emails. They are full of resources, ideas, insights, and I also model, I suppose, the way I think that emails can really work for you by building connection and letting people get to know who you are and what you offer. So the QR code is there up at the top of the screen, and I'll also share it in the comments. So I hope you all have a lovely week, and see you next Monday for the next Monday messaging. Goodbye.